Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing my January 2020 TBR. Can't believe we're already in 2020. I am trying a new thing. So I've got my ring light on because it is super stormy today in the Pacific Northwest. We have tons of rain and wind and all that good jazz, and I just realized like the angle of this, like that I'm using my phone to film, so this is interesting. I decided to use my phone instead of my digital camera because I can put my phone in the middle of the ring light, but I had my book stacked in front of the ring light, and I have it on a little ottoman and with the little tiny tripod for my little digital camera, which actually, this is what I normally film on. This little tiny itty bitty thing. So when somebody tells you you can't make a channel, bullshit. I'm currently filming on my iPhone. This is what I normally film on, and I film all of my vlogs on my iPhone. So that right there tells you can absolutely start a channel. Like, look, this thing is like, look how tiny that is. It is the tiniest little digital camera, but it works. You don't need some big fancy $3,000 camera to film. You just don't. But anyways, this I figured would be easier because on my phone I can actually see myself, which makes it a little bit nicer. Of course, I have to make sure I'm looking over here where the camera is instead of at my face where it makes my eyes off. So that's a little hard, but I should be used to it because I do it with my vlogs. But I've got it in between my ring light. Like, this is all like old lady, you know, me being in my mid-30s, like trying to figure out how to YouTube, even though I've been on YouTube for over a year now. But yeah, like, I like it. I've got my lighting, so I don't look like I live in a cave, which I do live in a cave. Though I do think that you get all the detail of all of my junk that litters everything everywhere, so I apologize. I look like I probably live in a hoarded house. But anyways, you're here to watch a TBR and not listen to me ramble. So, TBR. I guess we'll start with the book that I am currently reading, kind of. I've read like 50 pages, and that's Long Bright River by Liz Moore. Like, I guess I'm used to holding it over here with this side, but the angle, so I guess I'll hold it over here. Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This book is one of my book of the months that I got in December. It is a book about two sisters who live in Philadelphia, and it's in specifically like the Kensington neighborhood. If you've ever watched Intervention, Intervention did a whole big thing on it, like instead of doing their normal individual where they talked about Kensington and stuff, and they did like, I think it was 7 or 8 episodes all about like the heroin and opioid crisis in that part of Philly. And this takes place there. So one of the sisters, Mickey is her name. I think her name is Mackenzie, but they call her Mickey for short. I'm only, 33 pages in. Like, I haven't read much at all. But she is a cop, and she works in the Kensington area. And so she's very used to finding dead bodies and overdoses and everything else like that comes with, you know, drug addiction and dealing and all that stuff. And then you have her sister Casey, who is, she's an addict. Like, I don't know much about Casey yet where I'm at, but she's an addict, and she's been missing for a couple of months, I think. And the thing with addiction, and it's talked about in here, is that, you know, they disappear for long periods of time. If they don't need anything from you and they're off getting high, that's what they're going to do. And Mickey struggles with that because every time she is called to a dead body, she doesn't know if it's going to be her sister or not. So I barely ended this. So this I would like to finish. But the thing about it is I'm not really in the mood. Like, I'm really actually, this is going to drive me nuts. I'm really in the mood for a fantasy, a really big fantasy, which I hopefully will be reading shortly. But I didn't have any to read. So, I mean, I do, but I don't. And I'm rambling, and why do anybody watch my videos? I mean, I can't even talk and form words. But this one I started, it is good. I know it's going to focus very heavily on addiction and, you know, siblings and family, because you know right from the bat that both of their parents are dead and that they were raised by their grandmother, which I assume is also dead because they are now adults. Not sure, haven't gotten that far yet, but this has gotten a lot of good praise on Goodreads and BookTube and Book of the Month. It's one of their higher rated books. So I'm excited to get to it and to read it, but it's pretty thick. It's what, 300, 400, almost 500 pages. Or it is 500 pages, maybe. If I could find page numbers, this book is really bad. 480, so almost 500 pages. And this is formatted really weird. It doesn't have normal chapters. It has then and now sections that alternate pretty frequently, and it's just broken up paragraphs. So you have broken up paragraphs in certain chunks instead of, you know, chapter 1, chapter 2, or whatever, which I don't mind that format. It just makes it kind of hard to know when to stop. Like when you're reading, I like chapter breaks. So my favorite is short chapters, because then after you read like 2 or 3 pages, you're like, ooh, I can just read one more chapter, and one more chapter, and pretty soon you're done with the book. So this I'm hoping to finish. If not, I'm just gonna set it off to the side depending on how my mood goes for the month, but I would like to continue with this one. Okay, now maybe I can be more eloquent and talk like a normal human. I don't have a buddy read with Vicky this month. Her and I buddy read every other month, and we have been since I started my channel in August of 2018. August 2018, I started my channel. Her and I buddy read Gone with the Wind in July of 2018, and I just found her on BookTube, absolutely loved her, and we just started chatting, and so I buddy read that book with her. And after that, like, we have literally buddy read a book together every other month for the last year and a half. We buddy read in December, so there is no buddy read for January, but because Vicky and I are such high overachievers, we have all of our buddy reads planned for 2020. We just added the book for December 2020, I think, in December. So because I can't seem to speak or form words or, you know how to YouTube, it feels like this is my first video because I can't seem to figure anything out and I completely suck. But long story short, I don't have any buddy reads planned this month with Vicky like I normally do or do sometimes. We do it every other month. So I do have one buddy read, and this is one where I asked if she wanted to buddy read. Cindy, one of my subscribers, and I buddy read together all the time, and I'm itching to read this book, and so is she. So I asked her, hey, you want to do it in January? And she's down. And that's An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. This is book 2 in the Lycanius trilogy. I can't fucking talk today. What is my problem? As you know, I read The Shadow of What Was Lost in November and December and finished it. So this is book 2. It is also ginormous, over 800 pages. I'm going, oh, no. No? What? 723. But it is still, it is like one of the floppiest paperbacks in the world, but I'm so excited to get into it. This one, I just, from looking at what the page count was, there's actually a glossary in this one. There was not a glossary in The Shadow of What Was Lost, and that made it really hard sometimes when you're trying to figure out, what something is or trying to remember. There's a lot of really hard, complicated names in this book and different history, people in history, places in history, stuff like that. So I'm glad there's finally a glossary in this one. It's going to make it so much easier, keeping track of everything. This is a hefty ass book. But I will be buddy reading this with Cindy. Like I said, I don't know much about it. Honestly, I just know it's book 2. Hopefully it picks up right where we left off in Shadow of What Was Lost. So I'm not really going to read the plot. I kind of want to go in blind. But this will definitely fulfill my fantasy need for January. Absolutely. Because Jesus Christ. Hopefully we can get this done in January. We tend to do 50 pages a day. And so that should take, 2 weeks? Just over 2 weeks? So we should be able to get this done. It shouldn't be an issue, but it's just time. And, she is an RN and works a lot of nights, and I have crazy schedule and kids and shit. So, but this definitely should get read in January. If not, it'll be really close. I think Shadow of What Was Lost, we started in the middle of December. Like, we got a late start, or November, I mean. So I think that's why we went into December, but this one definitely should get finished in January, and depending on how great it is, which I'm sure it is, I'll probably have to buy book 3 and start that one in February or March. Next is my BookTube darling of the month, and I decided to go with a smaller one, and one that I've been really itching to read, and that's Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This one is a lot smaller, and this is a sci-fi, and what I know about it, it's like a sci-fi fantasy. This book is now, I think, 6 books long. I think the one that just came out a couple of months ago, I believe, is book 6. And I don't know, but I think it's like this first trilogy, and then there's another trilogy that takes place after it, but same world and some of the same characters. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's a solid, straight 6. But yeah, this is the BookTube darling I want to read. So far, so good. My last BookTube darling was 5 stars, so I'm hoping this one will do the same. I know this is kind of polarizing. Some people really love it. Some people really hate it. I'm hoping to be on the love side. I do love sci-fi, or some sci-fi, and I really like fantasy, so I'm really hoping. From what I understand, This is about, what's his name? Darrow. Darrow's the main character. He works in these mines, like way down below in a planet, and the way their system or their society is structured is the golds are like the top, and then the reds are like the bottom. Like the golds are like the highest part of society, and the reds are kind of like slaves. And he is working in a mine hoping that they can get enough of the whatever they need or whatever it is so that they can, you know, ascend and not be down there anymore and get treated better. And he gets up or gets out of the mine or something like that and figures out that it's all a lie and everything that they were working for has been done for years and years now, and he needs to infiltrate the golds in order to change things, something like that. Yeah. And like something about his family. Oh yeah, his wife was taken, so it's kind of, you know, you've got all that. So he's the wronged, oppressed guy who's going to fight the power and, you know, make everything better. But I've heard the people who love this, like, fiercely love this book. So, and then you've got like Allie from Hardback Hoarder who enjoys this book, but it took, I don't even think she's read the third book yet, Golden Sun, or is it the Morning Sun, whatever. I know Golden Sun's one of the books. I don't know if it's book 2 or 3. And then there's one that's got a blue cover, Morning Star, and I don't remember which order they're in, but I know she hasn't read the third one. And it takes her forever to read them. And I don't know if it's because it's sci-fi, because she loves the story, but she says it just takes her forever to get through, and she's never really explained why. But I'm excited to read this one. Next on my list, I just kind of threw this one on there for shits and giggles because it's been sitting there and it's staring at me, and I kind of want some Mark Lawrence. And that's King of Thorns. This is book 2 in, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, the Broken Empire trilogy. So book 1 was Prince of Thorns. I read that one. This is a dark, grim, dark fantasy. In this world, Jorg is the main character, and he's really young, like 14, 15 in the first book. I think in this one, he's about 18, I think. He's an adult now, but he is very, very, very gross. He's very violent. He's very brutal. He is just a nasty human being. And this is his story. So this is book 2. I've heard this story gets better as it goes along, because with the first book being so incredibly brutal, it just makes it really hard. But yeah, I don't know much more about this. I don't even really remember the first book all that well. But I want to continue the series because they're easy reads. I mean, this is a mass market paperback, so they're very easy to read. And I just want to keep going. It was kind of like one of those things where I had a hard time building my TBR. So I was just looking at my shelves and going, okay, well, I'll throw that one on there because that should be a nice, easy, like, before bed read. I am so sorry. Like, I have been such a hot mess for this video. Like, I can't talk. I can't find my words. I don't know what to say. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I've been doing this for over a fucking year now. I know how to make a video. I know how to make decent videos. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I apologize. This is like a complete hot mess video, and you're just getting me at my messiest, apparently. Next on my list is a sequel that I've wanted to read for a while. It came out in July of 2019, and I'm terrible and haven't read it yet. And that's Queen of Ruin by Tracy Banghart. This is the sequel to Grace and Fury. This is the story of two sisters in a fantasy world where I kind of liken it to Girls of Paper and Fire, though this came first, where there's a kingdom where the king or whoever's in charge takes concubines. And in this world, they're called Graces. In, Girls of Paper and Fire, they're called Paper Girls. But in this story, there's two sisters. One has been raised to be a Grace her entire life. The other one's been raised to be like her lady in waiting. And when they get to the palace, the new prince, or not new prince, but the prince who's choosing as Graces for the first time, chooses the sister meant to be a handmaiden instead of the one that's raised to be a Grace. Something happens. The sister raised to be a Grace, Serena, is sent away to an island that is a prison for women, and her sister Nomi stays behind and is trying to get her back. This, I don't know why this got such mixed reviews, or Grace and Fury did, the first book. It was so good. It's a lot about women empowerment. I mean, that prison island is terrible. It's like almost like a gladiator fight to the death kind of situation. Like the men on the island who are there, like the prison guards, like make the women fight against each other to the death. They have them all separated in camps, almost like a really twisted reality show. And they fight for the different food and stuff like that. Depending on how well one of your girls fights, that determines how much food you're gonna get. And the whole society suppresses women. Like women aren't allowed to read. It is illegal. And if a woman is found to know how to read, she's immediately thrown on the prison island. I mean, it's a brutal society, and it's very against women. So I thought that the themes explored in this, and how the sisters kind of come together, like Serena, who is sent to the prison island, who is, you know, raised to be perfect and graceful and to obey her man and like all that kind of shit, has to learn to toughen the fuck up, and because she's stuck on this prison island, if she wants to survive, she's got to toughen up. And then you have Nomi, who is used to being the tough one, and she has to learn how to be soft and nice so that she can get through all the politics and the scheming at the palace. It was just, I really liked it. And I believe this is YA too. And for being a YA book, like, and I usually don't enjoy that many YA books, I really enjoyed it. And I really need to read this one. It is not very long. And the first book was really good. And I'm pretty sure the sequel is probably going to come out this year. The finale and the trilogy should be coming out this year. The first book came out in July 2018. This came out July 2019. Since I really enjoyed the first one, I have no doubt I'll enjoy this one as well. 2 more. Next should be no surprise. It's been on like 4 TBRs, and it's a beautiful book, and I really just need to fucking read it. And that's Gideon the Ninth by Tasman Muir. I need to fucking read this book. I don't know why I haven't yet. I think I haven't read it because I've heard such mixed reviews that it's made me really nervous. It's Mel to the Any's favorite book of the year, or one of them. I know, like, she keeps swapping spots, but I know this one's way up there. And she really loved it, but then I've heard stories, you know, and reviews from people who said it didn't make sense, they couldn't get into it, like, and that just really makes me nervous. But I'm hoping to really love it. Lesbian necromancers in space. So, I mean, you get your fantasy, your sci-fi, you get your lesbian rep, like, I just need to read this. I think the next book I'm going to pick up is either going to be this one or Red Rising. I think we're starting an Echo of Things to Come within the first couple days. I don't think we're starting it until Thursday. So we'll see. But I really need to get Gideon of the Ninth read. And I really hope that I don't be a slacker to start off the new year and I can get this one read. And the last book on my TBR, where I'm looking at the camera and I already have 20 minutes of raw footage, and most of it's just gibberish of me, you know, not being able to form words and talking nonsense and not even being able to describe a book accurately like it's my first time. This book I picked kind of randomly. It's one that's been on my radar for a long time. When did this book even come out? It's been out for a while. 2017. So it's a 2017 release. And I checked it out from the library, I think, originally. I saw Dennis from Scared Straight Reads and Chelsea from Chelsea Humphrey. What is her... I don't know. I don't remember her handle. She's Chelsea Humphrey on Goodreads. I can't remember what her Instagram handle is, but her and Dennis, like, I followed for a long time because they read a lot of thrillers and mysteries and horror. And I guess Chelsea's friends with Melanie from Mel to the Any, and they knew each other from like being bloggers and Goodreads reviewers and stuff like that. But they both read this and loved this book, and so I picked it up. I was reading it at from my library. And for some reason I put it down, and I don't know why. It ticks a lot of my boxes, and I don't understand why I put it down. I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood, or I got into one of my slumps or whatever, but I got it on Book Outlet, God, 6, 7, 8 months ago. I haven't ordered from Book Outlet in a while, but it was on there, and so I ordered it just so I had a copy so I could read it, because I know I think its sequel has already come out. I think it came out this year, maybe 2018. I need to look, because I know it's a series, and I don't understand. It's one of these things, like, why am I like this? Why am I like this? But that book's unsubbed by Meg Gardner. I believe that's how you say name. Gardner. Something like that. But this ticks all my boxes. It's FBI, it's criminal profiling, and it's, you know, serial killers. Hello. Like, one of my favorite shows of all time is Deadly Women. Like, come on. But this tells the story of a girl, I don't know her, a woman, I should say. I don't remember her name. Caitlin? Yeah. Caitlin. She used to be a narcotics detective. Her dad was a famous homicide detective in her town. He helped catch, I think, a notorious, or city, I don't know where it takes place, a Bay Area. So this is like San Francisco area. Yeah, so this is about a serial killer named the Prophet. Her dad, Mac, who was a homicide detective at the time, helped track him and couldn't find him and drove him almost to the brink of madness. So, but he's an unsub. They have no idea who he is. So she moves from narcotics to homicide and helps the FBI try to catch this guy. So it's very much all about criminal profiling, which I find super fascinating. and about serial killers, which I also find very fascinating. So this ticks a lot of my boxes, and I really should read it. It's not that long. I know it's book 1, and it's an Edgar Award winning, like Edgar Allan Poe award winning. So it's got some horror elements. It's probably kind of graphic, and I really need to get this read. With the way the weather is and how nasty and gross, like it's kind of like I really want to read this, and I haven't read anything in like 4 days, and it's December 31st, and I should be finishing more books, and I had plenty of time to, and I didn't. But this one I really want to get read. It's been sitting on my shelves for way too long. Okay, guys, that's it. That is my January TBR for 2020. Let me adjust this so it makes it look like I'm more central because it keeps moving. Here we go. Yeah, I'm a hot mess. Great way to start 2020 with my first video of 2020, or I guess this is going up on New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year. Yeah, and we can see nothing's changed. I haven't learned anything. I'm still a horrible mess, and I can't believe this video was trash. But I'm going to post it anyways, so you at least know what books I'm going to try to read in January. Hopefully my books read amount will go up. I've been averaging like 4 to 6 books a month lately, which isn't bad. That's better than a lot of people. But it, you know, I feel like I'm not reading enough because I could be reading a lot more than I am. I have some time to do it, and I'm just not prioritizing it. So I really need to do that. If any of you are curious, I always set my Goodreads goal, or I did this year and I'm going to do it again this year, to 52 books, which is 1 book a week, which is easily doable. 1 book a week or 4 books a month shouldn't be a problem. And I figure that is the easiest way, and it's a very achievable goal. I'm not going to go super lofty and do like 100 or something like that. I think this year I read 76. Something like that, which isn't terrible, but it's not super fantastic, and I don't want to make an unachievable goal. So that's it. That is my TBR. Please let me know in the comments down below what you guys are reading this month. Sorry this video is all over the place. Sorry I keep having to move the camera because my ring light won't fucking sit still. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a huge hot mess. Hope you still stick around even though, you know, I'm a trash human. But please let me know in the comments below, again, what you're reading in the month of January. Have you read any of the books on my TBR? Are you excited for me to read any of them? And I will see you guys in the next one, hopefully, if I, you know, don't totally fall apart. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.